Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamatsyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Shruti-smriti-purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-pada Shankaram Loka-shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. We were on verse 115. Hari Om everybody. Where we are actually in the section where the three gunas are being described, and the three gunas are being described because it was said that Maya is Trigunatmaka. So in the description of Maya, one of her definitions is Trigunatmika Maya. Maya is that who has the three gunas, and therefore it became necessary for the author to explain what the three gunas are. Guna, the word guna in Sanskrita has got two meanings. One is attributes or properties that we are seeing, but the other meaning is rope. Guna also means rope, and that's why this word guna is very appropriate, because these are the three attributes, three types of attributes which bind us. That's why that rope meaning of guna is also important. It is a rope, whether it is a sattvic rope or a rajasic rope or a tamasic rope, rope binds. There is no freedom of movement, and that's what it is. And we'll talk more about these three ropes once we finish the description of all three gunas. And we finished Rajas. So Rajas has got the Vikshepa Shakti. Maya has got two Shaktis, two powers. One is Vikshepa and one is Avrana. Avrana comes from Tamas. Vikshepa comes from Rajas. So when the truth is veiled from us because of Tamas, only then can a misapprehension happen. Like I told you, if the truth of the rope is kind of veiled in the sense, like I said, there is like a nylon curtain, so it's you can see. If it was like an iron curtain, like or just a brick wall, you can't see anything at all, then it doesn't matter. But this is it's a thin veiling, and because of that there is a partial understanding of whatever that is. So there is something coiled in the corner, and I walk in and the light is dim. It's neither fully bright nor is it fully dark. if it was either one, there would have been no problem. If it was fully lit, I would see the rope as a rope, no problem. If it was completely dark, I would not see the rope at all, no problem. But the problem comes because there is dim light. And in that dim light, this rope is as though veiled, and then I project. So first tamas happens, tamas has to happen first, only then rajas comes. Like I gave you the dream example. First, you have to go into deep sleep. From waking, you don't go directly into dream. You go into deep sleep and then you dream. So first there is tamas and then there is rajas. So rajas is described as the vikshepa shakti of Maya. And then kama, krodha, lobha, dambha, all these emotions of the mind are considered rajas because they create agitation. Why are they, why desire? You know, when desire is there, and like I told you, the more intense the desire, the more agitation there'll be, and the more intense action will come. That desire, when not fulfilled, leads to anger. Again, you know, my blood is only boiling. The funniest thing is sometimes we are angry at some other person. That person is, you know, in glory, right? He or she doesn't even know we are. Our blood is boiling. We are going like this, but that person is happy. So it's actually detrimental to us to only to get angry. So may as well not get angry. Lobha comes when the desire is fulfilled, because I got this thing, why can't I get more? Damba comes also when desire is fulfilled or it's not fulfilled. You know, I pretend that I am happy. I pretend. As it is, I told you, we are pretending to be the body. That is one original pretentiousness that is there. But on top, we are pretending that, oh, I'm very happy. Oh, I have everything. Oh, I have more money. I have whatever. So that's why in chapter 13 also we saw Adam Bhitvam, Bhagwan starts with that there should be non-pretentiousness if you want to get this thing. Asuya is an envy, is a form of jealousy, where you know, I don't have something that I want, and then somebody else has it. So that's why we have that thing, you know, dog in the manger. Like, I don't have it, then somebody else also should not have it. That is how we are. If I don't get it, okay, it's one thing. But somebody else gets it, then I'm more agitated. Ahankara, ego, that is identification with the body mind. And matsara is jealousy. And these are ghoraha. Ghoraha, terrible. They are non-conducive to our spiritual progress. They are obstacles in spiritual progress. They are obstacles in realization of the self. That is why Bhagwan said to give up all these. And so these tadrajo bandha hetu, they become cause for bondage, because the original thing is desire, and desire leads to action. Action leads to result. I enjoy the result, or I don't like the result, because it could be a result that I was not expecting. Either way, I'm agitated. And I told you in Vedanta, agitation also includes happiness. That means the mind is shaking. So either way, you know, and it prompts me into more action. If I get it, more action to get more things. If I don't get it, oh, I didn't get it this time, let me act even more. So that is what is binds us to this sansar, because we are creating vasanas, we are creating more and more blueprints for our future births. And that is why they become a bandha hetu, purpose, reason. So that is why they become rajasic tendencies become the cause for bondage in the form of rebirth. All right. Now, then we saw tamoguna. So the veiling power is tamas, I told you, of Maya. And then what happens with the veiling? It's not clearly seen. So whatever is there is not clearly seen. So I know that I exist, okay? Because any one of you I ask, oh, are you existing? You're not going to say I don't exist, but I think I exist as the body. That is where the mistake is. Nobody says I don't exist. Everybody is going to say I exist. But who are you exactly? That part we are not very sure of. Actually, we are very sure that we are the body. until we came into the mission, we we always thought we were the body, mind, and intellect. And some of us, we still do think. And why do I say we still do think? Because there's fear. If there's any kind of fear in our mind, note that it is coming from that identification with the body. And then in 115, where we were, Bhagwan has given us 4 things that happen with tamas: abhavana, viparita bhavana, asambhavana, and vipratipattihi. So abhavana, absence of right judgment, where I gave you the example of Arjun, where he should have considered the people standing on the other side as enemy, but he judged them as relatives. On the battlefield, they were not relatives. So that is abhavana. Viparit bhavana is opposite. He had to fight the war, but he wanted to run away. So that is an opposite thought that he had. And then asambhavana. So asambhavana is a belief. I don't believe in myself anymore. And that's what Arjun, he didn't know what his duty was at that moment. Am I doing right by killing them, or is it wrong to kill them? That part he was not very sure about. And then vipratipatti, there is a doubt in his mind. Are we even waging this war for the correct reasons? So there is a doubt in his mind. Is this war correct? Should we be waging war? Now here, the way this Maya is working on him, tamas, first of all, he forgot that he was a Kshatriya. That is the tamas part of it. And because he forgot who he actually was on the battlefield, right? He was a warrior. He was a Kshatriya. He was supposed to fight. He considered himself to be just an ordinary human being. And then he started projecting. And then the projection came. Oh, that is my grandfather. That is my guru. That is my cousin. So first tamas, then rajas. And this is how this Maya works. Maya, that is the job of Maya. It deludes. Maya deludes us by throwing a veiling on our real self, and then that veiling, because of the veiling, projections come about. And so this is how delusion happens. Okay. Ajnanamalasya jadatva nidra pramada moodhatva mukhastamo gunaha ete prayukto nahi veti kinchita nidraluvatstam bhavadeva tishtati. Ignorance, laziness, dullness, sleep, inadvertence, stupidity, etc. are the attributes of tamas. One tied up with these cannot comprehend anything, but remains like one asleep, or like a stump of wood or a block of stone. This doesn't mean that the person is inert or he suddenly dies or something like that. No, but he is not understanding anything. So there is ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of who he really is. In case of Arjun, forget like not knowing that he was the self, that forget it. He even forgot that he's a Kshatriya. So this is ignorance even at a very gross level. Like it's not ignorance of my real name. That is one type of ignorance, but even in the day-to-day life, we forget. We go to work and then we forget that we are at work, and then we are constantly worried about our child who is with the babysitter. That is wrong. That is wrong. So, you know, our grandparents, they are grandparents and they've got really no duty towards the grandchildren, but now they're interfering with the son or the daughter's life, telling them how the grandchild should be raised. That is also falls under ignorance, because you are ignorant of your own duties. That is there. Laziness, procrastination. This is coming from tamas. You know, where I say, maybe I'll do tomorrow. Do I have to really get up in the morning and go to class, or do I have to go and go for a walk? Do I need to go for a walk? Anything that is keeping you away from activity. Tamas will keep you away from activity, and that activity is rajas. So it's better to, it is from tamas, you need to go into rajas. Dullness, you know, sleep, inadvertence. So a lot of people, you know, they think, oh, it would be so nice to sleep like 22 hours a day, you know. Then they have to come in a cat body, because only the cat can sleep 22 hours. Humans cannot sleep 22 hours. So we have to be careful of what we wish for, because it will get fulfilled in the next birth. Inadvertence is pramada, means because there is not a correct understanding of the thing, inadvertence comes. We are not so alert. Stupidity, attributes of tamas. So one tied up with these cannot comprehend anything. So because of all these, there is not a clear understanding. Like I said, there is a nylon curtain sort of, or when a person has cataracts, in the eyes, then the vision is not very clear. So this ignorance, actually in some Vedantic texts also, it is referred to as the cataract of the eye. Adnyana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya. So this ignorance, the cataract of ignorance was removed by my guru. This is how it is said. That there is this cataract which is veiling the truth from us. And that we need a guru anjana. So guru puts that medicine of wisdom into our head, not directly into our eyes, but guru gives us the wisdom by which this cataract of ignorance is removed. Okay, so it's like one who is fast asleep, he doesn't know anything, or any inert objects, they are unaware of whatever that is happening. So that's why this therefore tamas will also bind, because you don't know what you're doing, you have no idea of what you really are, and it is then going to bind you as well. And tamas, rajas, see, rajas binds and tamas binds depending on which attribute you have in more. Like if you have sleepiness more, it binds you and it takes you into lower yonis. That is the danger with tamas. Tamas takes you lower. Rajas keeps you on the same sort of level. So if you are a human, chances are you will be born as a human. And when you develop sattva, you get higher worlds. So you kind of get heavens. Means what? Means you get a very evolved body. Now we'll see that. An evolved existence. Let's see now. Okay, so this is why that bondage becomes there. Gurudev has said tamas is like a rusted iron chain. Rajas is like iron chain, or you can say bronze chain is or iron chain is tamas, and then bronze or silver is rajas, and gold is sattva. So among the three, gold is the best, but nevertheless it is a rope, it is a chain. That means it will bind. So whether it's a gold chain or a silver chain or a bronze chain, a rope, it's going to bind. So that's why all three have to be transcended. So now let's see sattva guna. Sattvam vishuddham jalavat tathapi tabhyam militva saranaya kalpate yatratma bimba pratibimbitas san prakashayatyarkaivaakhilam jadam. Pure sattva is like clear water, yet in combination with rajas and tamas, it provides for transmigration. But when the light of the self gets reflected in sattva alone, then like the sun, it reveals the entire world of matter. So sattva is like this. Water we have studied in chemistry. Water is what? Colorless, odorless, and one more thing, tasteless. Right? So we study in chemistry that these are the properties of water. So, but because it itself is colorless, you add any color to it, it takes on that color. So you add blue color, it will take on that color. You add red color, it will take on that color. Now, tasteless, it is by itself, it is tasteless, but you can add salt, make it salty. You can add sugar, make it sweet. So because it is tasteless originally, you can add any taste, sour taste, lemon you put in, squeeze into water, then the water will taste lemony. And colorless, tasteless, odorless. So there is no odor also to water. So whatever that you add to it will give it the odor. Like sewage water will smell bad because you've added some bad things to it. Sattva is like that. So sattva by itself is very pure. Okay, that's why the representation in color of sattva is white, rajas is red, and tamas is black. So in color, if you have to see these, it's white, red, and black. And because it is by itself, it has no attributes of itself. This rajas and tamas, when they get mixed with sattva, that sattva becomes like that. Just like water becomes blue by adding blue color, or becomes salty by adding salt, sattva will become rajasic, or if there is a predominance of tamas, then sattva will become tamas, to take on tamas also. So the all three are present in all of us. The percentage is what we need to control, the percentage of each one of them. And for a spiritual seeker, there has to be a predominance of sattva. Actually, the very fact that we are all attending these classes indicates that there is some amount of sattva in us. All we need to is develop it more and more and more. Okay. So when the water, we have given this example before, if the water in the bucket is absolutely pure and clean and steady, so what rajas does is rajas will make the mind agitated. So it will make the water which is actually steady, sattvic, with rajas it will get agitated. So it will start shaking. And with tamas it will get muddy. That is the comparison. So when there is agitation, sattva mind is getting agitated, and when there is mala, dirt, then the water is getting very muddy. Now, when the reflection of the sun happens, it will be best seen in the most clear water. The bucket, which has the very steady and very clean water, the reflection will be the brightest. It's very natural. The one which is unsteady, which is agitated, the reflection also will be dancing because the medium is dancing. So the reflection also does. And in the muddy water, there'll hardly be a reflection. Not that the reflection is not there, or not that the sun is not there, but it's not clearly visible in muddy waters. And that is what the difference is in our mind. When there is a predominance of sattva, what happens is, decisions come very fast, and correct decisions come. Arjun also took a decision of running away. But because there was a predominance of tamas, it was a wrong decision. So correct decisions will come from sattvic minds. Calmness will come from a sattvic mind. The desire to attend classes, to read spiritual books, to hear about spirituality, not gossip. The rajasic mind will want to gossip, will want to talk about other people. That is the rajasic mind. Tamasic mind will, just want to, let's just sit and play cards and do nothing. That sort of a mind, a tamasic mind. So that is how because sattva, rajas, tamas cannot be seen, but these are the manifestations. So you know that this person is acting out of rajas, acting out of sattva, acting out of tamas. That is how it works. So like Swami Ishwananji said, when we studied chapter 14, he said, as spiritual seekers, we have to make a deliberate choice. As human beings, the intellect head is on the top. We have a choice. We definitely have a choice. So we need to self-evaluate. The reason that all these details are given here is for us to go within ourselves and decide where we are. It doesn't matter. It's okay. If we are in tamas, fine. It's not like we are constantly in tamas. The very fact that we are here is we are not in tamas. We are either in rajas or sattva. But in the morning, when it comes to following some disciplines, if we cannot do it, then know that you're in tamas. And then you force yourself to come into rajas. From tamas, you have to come into rajas, and only from rajas can you go into sattva. From tamas to go into sattva is not a very easy job. So when we are being told in the class that we need to have certain disciplines, we need to follow certain rules, and we can't do it. See, even when the doctor tells us, that you need to lose weight, you need to go for a walk every day, you need to take your medicines on time. And then when we are unable to do that, then we are falling into tamas. So we may attend the lecture, but if we are not following what the scriptures are telling us, the Shat Sampati, they're telling us Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, like these qualities, the one who has a sattvic bent of mind will be more prone to following those things that are being told to us in the scriptural books. Okay, so just because we are all attending here is a plus point, huh? Please understand that attending class is a plus point. If you have a desire to listen to, Vivekachudamani, Bhagavad Gita, whatever text, it is a plus point, but it needs to be maintained throughout the day or throughout the week. We are maybe attending once a week or twice a week, which is great, which is absolutely great, but are we maintaining it through the week? Are we revising? So that is what this sattva is all about. So a sattvic person, now question arises, why should I remain in sattva? Because sattva gives a calm mind. Sattva makes the mind calm. There'll be a better understanding of the scriptures. See, even in the ordinary world, suppose if you go to work and there's some project that is being explained to you, but your mind is very agitated or worried about your family, your children, or this or that or anything, will you be able to understand that properly? You can't, because your mind is agitated. Tamas means the person will probably fall asleep only while the project is being explained. So to remain in a sattvic mind is advantageous because it will give us a better understanding of what is being said. That's why we need to remain in sattva. Other reason we need to remain in sattva is because sattva is closest to the supreme self. So if our goal is to reach that pure self, then it is via sattva that we have to go. We cannot go from rajas. You cannot skip the rung of a ladder. See, it's tamas at the bottom, then rajas, then sattva, then the pure self, because pure self is beyond sattva. So from tamas, you can't go into pure self. From rajas, you can't skip the rung of a ladder. So you go from tamas into rajas into sattva and then stay there, because that is considered closest to the supreme reality. So that is another this thing. And the calm mind, the calm mind is a representation of a pure mind, and pure mind will give you a sharp intellect. So when the mind is pure, the intellect, the clarity in the intellect is extremely good. Just like, the reflection, when the water is absolutely steady and absolutely clean, the reflection is very, very bright. It's going to be bright of the sun. That way, when your mind is very calm, then the understanding in the intellect will be very, very clear. There'll be no misunderstanding. Otherwise, with rajas, what happens is even in ordinary conversations, they get misunderstood. Okay, now how do I increase sattva? Okay, so now we've been told, and like Swamiji said, choose to remain in sattva. So what I have to do is increase sattva. So how can I increase sattva? Among the three gunas, total rajas plus sattva plus tamas equals 100. Okay, that you cannot change. You cannot have rajas plus sattva equals 100. You cannot have like that. Tamas plus rajas, I have no sattva. Tamas plus rajas equals 100. It cannot be like that. So to increase sattva, you need to decrease rajas and tamas. That's all you have to do, is decrease. So now what should be done is what Bhagavan is telling us. How do I reduce rajas and tamas? Mishrasya sattvasya bhavanti dharmaha tvamanittadya niyamaya madhyaha shraddha cha bhakti cha mumukshuta cha daivi cha sampattirasannivrittihi. The characteristics of mixed sattva, the mixed sattva, this mishrasya sattva, mixed with rajas and tamas. Okay, so all of us have sattva, but there is a mixture of rajas and tamas. Mixed sattva are utter absence of pride, etc. Niyama niyama, yama, etc., and also faith, devotion, yearning for liberation, the divine tendencies, and a natural turning away from everything unreal. So this mixed sattva, there is mixed sattva. Now we are trying to increase sattva. And what Bhagwan is saying, Yama Niyama. Yama Niyama is from Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the Ashtanga Yoga, which is there. Those who are into yoga, they will know this. Yama, Niyama, asana, pratyahara, pranayama, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. These are the Ashtanga Yoga. In this eight-limbed spiritual practices, in this Yama, Niyama, asana, and pratyahara, they are called bahiranga sadhana. Okay, bahiranga, external. And from pranayama, they become the internal sadhana. So pranayama, dharana, dhyana, samadhi is internal. There's nothing external. Now, to increase sattva, we need these external, unless the external qualities are developed, don't even bother doing these internal things. There is no point. Okay, so yama is, what is yama? The meaning of yama is control. So control means don'ts. Our scriptures always gives us do's and don'ts, injunctions and prohibitions. So what is being told is, when the scriptures are saying don't do this, we must force ourselves not to do it. How do I remain in sattva? How do I increase my sattvic tendencies? Is what is being told not to do, please don't do it. And what niyama is to do. Niyama is a rule. Literally translated, niyama is a rule. So what rules are told you? Injunctions. Yama is prohibitions. And niyama is injunctions. So there is don'ts and there is do's. So the don'ts are asatya, ahimsa, aparigraha, brahmacharya, and asteya. So this asatya means don't speak a lie. Don't. So it falls in, see, damba, we saw that damba. Damba is telling something, pretending to be something which you are not. So that's a lie. If I'm not maybe really rich, but I pretend outside like I've got a lot of money. So that becomes untruth. So don't do that. That's why it's a don't. That's why even Bhagwan, even in Bhagavad Gita, he says, adambhitvam, very important. Ahimsa. Ahimsa is violence. So ahimsa means, of course, we don't go, do ahimsa out, but even in our thought, we must not hurt anybody, or by speech, we must try at least. It happens. It happens, honestly, even I'm guilty of that. But at least knowingly don't do it. Unknowingly, sometimes it does happen that we say something and it hurts other people, etc., etc. But at least knowingly try not to do it. Aparigraha is hoarding, where people just hoard. It's a very tamasic quality of, inert things. When we keep collecting, we have got clothes which are falling out of the closet, and God knows all kinds of things I hear. So, don't hoard things. Whatever you need, definitely you keep. But if you think it's extra, additional, try and give it out to somebody. Brahmacharya is, it is taken as celibacy, but that's not a complete meaning of brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is a control of all the senses. So if you want to develop sattva, then all the senses have to be under control. So the eyes should not, like, oh, I like to watch movies, so I'll just go on watching movies all night. Or I like to hear music or eat or this thing. So excess in this ahara is what in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, Bhagavan says, yukta ahara vihara se. Yukta ahara, we think ahara is only eating. Ahara is not eating. Ahara is intake. So we intake from the eyes, we take in from the ears, nose, tongue, and touch. All five senses are taking in the perceptions. Brahmacharya is a control of all five. That's why they're known as brahmacharis. When the students are studying or they're in yellow, brahmachari is one meaning is who is wanting to know Brahman. That is one meaning of brahmachari. Second meaning of brahmachari, which is very common, is celibacy, abstinence from sex. But the Vedantic meaning of brahmachari is one who wants to know that Brahman first has to control the senses. Otherwise, it is not possible. Asteya. I wonder what asteya is. I forgot. Asteya. Okay. So Yama, these rules are when we are dealing with the world outside. And Niyama, which is do's or disciplines, is when we are dealing with ourselves. So Shaucham, cleanliness. So there is a cleanliness at the level of the body, there's a cleanliness at the level of speech, and then there's a cleanliness at the level of the mind. Okay, so Shaucham. Santosh, contentment. We have seen this quality. Contentment is a quality where not that I have a whole lot of things, but whatever that I have, I'm very, very happy with it. That is what contentment is. Swadhyaya, self-study. So attending class is swadhyaya, but on our own also we should be able to do some reading, some studying that way. Ishwara Pranidhana is surrender unto the Lord. So everything that I do, Ishwara Pranidhana is a mental surrender. Of course, doing namaskar we do, but mentally we must surrender to Ishwara, wherein whatever situations that we face, we must be able to accept it as coming from the Lord. And tapaha is tapas, penance. So anytime when our vasanas are asking us to or pushing us to do something tamasic or rajasic, if I can control them and turn them inside, that becomes tapas. Previously, the rishis used to go to the forest and sit and meditate and all that. In the modern day, if we are fasting once a week, that is also considered as tapas, because say I'm used to eating chocolates every day. Then I say, okay, one day in the week, I will not eat. Something that I am used to doing, I should not do. Suppose if I'm used to getting up at 9 o'clock every morning, then at least once in the week, I'll get up at 7, I'll get up at 6, then that becomes tapas. Something that you are not doing on a daily basis, you must do. Like yesterday only Mahashivratri happened, right? And most of the people fast and all that, tapas. So now in the ashram, when we were there, on Mahashivratri day, only bananas and milk. A lot of people fast. I mean, even, my mom used to do, but then we will make actually much better things which we never make throughout the year. So I was talking to a friend and she said, oh, you must have made this and you must have made that. She asked me because I told her I'm fasting. I said, no. Then that's not tapas. So tapas is when, if you decide to do it, just bananas and milk, then that becomes tapas. Because throughout the year, there's not going to be a single day when you're just going to survive on those two things. So this is how tapas works. So Yama, Niyama, these are the do's. This is what Yama, he says, Nita, Niyama, Yama, Dyaha. Adi is etc. And in that etc. comes asana and pratyahara. Asana is basically where meditation is concerned, stillness of the body. We must be able to keep our body quiet for some time in the day at least. I told you, those who are extremely rajasic, it is extremely difficult for them to stay steady at one place. So for very many rajasic people, tapas will be just to make a point that 5 minutes in the day, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit at one place. That itself will become tapas for a rajasic person. One who is constantly with a to-do list. So you keep the to-do list away at least for 5 minutes in the day and then do that. So that becomes tapas asana. Of course, in the context of meditation, you have to be able to sit at one place without moving at all for half an hour. Then that is called asana siddhi. Then you have mastered asana. After that, you start mastering the mind. So that is what it is, but that is in context with meditation. Here we are saying just to develop sattva, increase it by reducing rajas and tamas. The only way to increase one of the gunas is to decrease the other two, reduce the other two. Pratyahara is a withdrawal. So pratyahara, this is the test right now, COVID, when we are all, confined to our own homes and not to meet family and not, then how are we feeling? Pratyahara, see, everybody is at home. They have no choice. Are they boiling inside? Are they dying to go outside? Are they dying to talk to somebody? Are they dying to go for a walk? Are they, if they are dying, then inside, outside, everybody's cool. Oh, time passes, no problem, this, that. How are you feeling inside? That's why it's self-evaluation. Are you calm inside? Are you, I mean, really okay? Really okay? Are you using that additional time that you have? What activity are you doing? The best example of this is, see, those of you who are now working from home, and this is what I had told right in the beginning when COVID started last year in March 12th, it started. You don't have to drive to work. So minimum you've probably saved, say, half an hour morning, half an hour evening, going and coming. Okay. The one who says, good, I have an additional half an hour, I will sleep in. My alarm, I'm going to put half an hour late. Tamas. That is coming out of a tamas. So he is working. But the minute he or she got an opportunity to save half an hour, he's spending it in sleep. Tamas. The next type of people will be, okay, then I can go for a walk in the morning, get up at the same time, and that half an hour I will spend in going for a walk, or maybe get my cooking done, or maybe cleaning my house. Rajas. And the one who says that, why don't I use this time to read? In the morning, I've saved half an hour. That's why I told people they should start chanting Vishnu Sahasranam or some stotra every day. That's a sattvic minded person who thinks, I have got this extra time. What do I do with it? Or do I phone somebody? Rajas, right? I got extra time to talk to somebody. So that's how it is. It is. And then, of course, devotion. Have devotion to the Lord. Yearning for liberation, mumukshutvam. We have seen that in the Shat Sampati. At least we should want it. We don't want it as much, somebody said in one of my other classes, but we should at least want it. The divine tendencies, this Daivi Sampati in chapter 16, Bhagwan has enumerated the divine qualities. All these, the same qualities will come. And he tells Arjun, you don't have to worry. You have got Daivi Sampati. That is why when we study chapter 16, we'll see all those similar qualities, So if we have this control, and, the best way to find out is, if you think that you cannot live without something, you actually do it. You do it and find out. Tapas gives you willpower. You understand that, oh, I thought I could never live without pickle or whatever, You purposely don't eat it for a week. Start with once a day. And then you'll find that you are perfectly fine. So it gives you self-confidence also. And it is tapas. Okay, and this is how you will increase sattva within yourself, because it is what we have is mishra sattva. Now we need to go from mishra sattva into vishuddha sattva. Vishuddha visheshena shuddham. It's extremely pure sattva, means very, very little of rajas and tamas, because we cannot say rajas and tamas zero ever. So what is meant by Vishuddha Sattva, and why should we go into Vishuddha Sattva? Now we see that. Bhagwan explains as 119. Vishuddha Sattvasya Guna Prasadaha Swatmanubhuti Parama Prashantihi Trupti Praharsha Paramatma Nishtha Yaya Sadanandarasam Samruchati. The characteristics of pure sattva: cheerfulness, the experience of one's own self, supreme peace, contentment, bliss, and constant devotion to the supreme self, by which the aspirant comes to enjoy everlasting bliss. Now, when it is said aspirant comes to enjoy everlasting bliss, it is a state of realization. So Vishuddha Sattva is a realized master. This verse is describing a realized master, one who has realized himself to be that supreme self. And that is what Vishuddha Sattva is. Now let us see first in the context of extremely pure Sattva means what? See, in the bright midday sun, not here, maybe Bombay, Chennai, India, or on the equator, when the sun is at its glory, at its height, it's shining brilliantly, you take a little candle and you go stand in there. Is that little candle, are you going to experience the light of that little candle? Yes? No? In the midday sun, no, you can't. That is what Vishuddha Sattva is like that midday sun. So, and the Rajas and Tamas is like the candle. So Rajas and Tamas is there, because if we say Tamas is not there, that means the realized master can't sleep. It's not like he's got now insomnia. Suddenly he realized now he has insomnia. He will not sleep day and night. No, it doesn't mean like that. Okay. Rajas, we see so many masters, Gurudev, Swami Vivekananda, extreme activity. Has come from Rajas, but it is so overpowered by Sattva that Rajas, whatever activity is done, is never ever for themselves. It is always for the good of the total. Bhagwan himself, Bhagwan Shri Krishna will say, Loka Sangra. He says, look at my life, Arjun. I have no duties in the three worlds. Trishu Lokeshu Kanchana, I have no duty. And look at my life. Right since birth, I've been working. And you look at Krishna's life. Look at Sri Rama's life. Till age 16, Sri Ram did nothing. He was a prince. He was born prince. He was Aram say. He never served he didn't have to, tend the cows and look at the horses and nothing. Look at Krishna's life. He was born, transported to Nanda Baba's house. Then Putana came along. Then Shaktasur came along. Then somebody else came along. Everybody trying to kill him. So his life is a life full of action, full of rajas. And yet, Krishna Bhagavan says, nothing taints me. Nothing taints me. Because I don't do it for myself. I'm doing it for the good of the totality. So that is how the realized masters work. They only work for the good of the totality. They only work for others, to lift others from this out of compassion. And that's why that Rajas, it is there, but it never binds them, because there is a predominance of Sattva. And that is the reason to go into Vishuddha Sattva, we need to remain in Sattva 24/7, 365. If we can do that, that will keep on, see, there is a glass of water and there is salt in it. And when I taste it, it is salty, the water. So how do I clean it up? If I add tons, gallons and gallons of water to that thing, how much that salt will taste then? In a small cup of water, when there is salt, it will be salty. Water will be salty. But if I go on, I take a big container and I go on adding salt. That is what this Vishuddha Sattva is. You go on adding Sattva. You go on adding, then Rajas, Tamas, they become smaller and smaller and smaller. As the sun becomes brighter and brighter, the candle light is dimming. That is what we do. We cannot blow it out. We cannot blow the candle out. We cannot get Rajas and Tamas out. Okay, so we reduce it, and that is what will take us into Vishuddha Sattva. And then it is that's why it says there, experience of one's own self. This is Aparoksha Anubhuti that is being talked about. Aparoksha Anubhuti is Vijnana, wisdom. It is an experiential existence, means he has experienced the self. This is what Vishuddha Sattva is. Otherwise, it is a Mishra Satya. Sattva, sorry, not Satya. Mishra Sattva. Okay, so which is mixed with Rajas and Tamas, and Rajas and Tamas will come up many times. Supreme peace, supreme, Paramas, a peace which is beyond both Shanti and Ashanti. See, there are two words. There is Shanti and the opposite, Ashanti, right? There is peace and then there is agitation. So when one is there, the other one is not there. So I'm at peace, then agitation is not there. But when I'm agitated, this peace goes away. So supreme peace is that which never goes away in either case. So even when I'm agitated means there is an agitating situation going around me. My mind is at peace. That is the that is what supreme peace means. Parama shanti. Parama prashanti. That's why it's prashanti. There is shanti, ashanti, and prashanti. Prakarshena shanti. So shanti and ashanti are opposed to each other. They are pair of opposites. They are the world. But prashanti, prakarshena shanti is going beyond both shanti and ashanti. And that is why this is a state of liberation. Contentment, tripti, we have tripti here. Tripti, I told you. Contentment is when you are happy no matter what. When you know, whatever little that you have, you think, wow, I've got so much. Most of the people I have seen, are 2-bedroom, I wish I had one more room, I wish I had this much, I wish I had that. Always they're saying, one who doesn't have a car, oh, I wish I had a car. One who has a car, oh, I wish I had this other car, I wish I had this. At least you can afford the bus pass. There are people who can't, but they're always looking. That's why I just said, if I cried that I had no shoes until I saw someone who had no feet. But the one who has shoes is always looking at the one on the bicycle. The one on the bicycle is looking at the one in the car. The car person is looking at the plane, and the plane person is worried because now taxes are coming up. So there are people who are worried that they have to pay taxes. That also is there. Now what to do? So contentment will come when you look the other way. So if you have shoes, you look at the person who doesn't have shoes. If you don't have shoes, you look at the person who doesn't have feet. Then you'll be, oh my God, thank God, I have at least 2 feet to walk. That is what contentment is. And that brings in peace. And that's why it's a Daivi Sampati. It is a divine, this thing. Bliss, praharsha, bliss. Again, bliss is beyond happiness and unhappiness. What happiness we know is pleasure. It's happiness when the sense organs come in contact with their respective sense objects. Then we get this jolt of, it's like putting your finger in the socket. You get a little electric shock. That's the happiness you get. And we think, oh, that's happiness. That's happiness. No, that's not happiness, because it goes away. Bliss is something which never goes away. Happiness goes away. Happiness will be replaced by unhappiness. Then unhappiness will change into happiness. But bliss will never become unhappy. Bliss will never become happy also. It is beyond both. It is a state which is beyond both. And firm devotion to the Supreme Self will definitely, devotion will come. You have recognized yourself to be that Supreme Self. So we love ourselves the most. So the devotion, as it is, we don't know yet. The most we are devoted is to ourselves only. Actually, devotion is already there. We love ourselves the most. There is no dearth of devotion. It's unfortunately, it is our ego that we love. That is the unfortunate. We don't know that. We don't recognize that. But what we are, that's why we love, that's why when somebody says something, immediately I'm hurt. Then I don't know to talk to that person. I love my ego the most. Right? But this devotion is to the Supreme Self. When there is a recognition that I am that Supreme Self and not the ego, then that is actually what is devotion. Real love. Devotion is supreme love, as we have seen in Narad Bhakti Sutra. Devotion is unconditional love. Okay, so next topic is causal body. We'll go into it next Friday. There'll be are there any questions? Anybody wants to ask anything, say anything?
Jayaji, I have a question. In different lectures, we've heard that we should try and see the God in everyone that we meet, regardless of whether we like them or not. Sometimes, is there a method that works well or that you would recommend to do this? Because with some people it is harder than others, obviously, and if you're not able to avoid them in real life, what do we do to do this?
Okay, if you can't avoid them, you have to try and be neutral to them at least. So not that you want to like them, but at least try not to hate them.
So what would make it easy, not hate, but what would make it easier to do that? Or how do we progress on that path?
By developing more sattva. Because when you get more and more sattva, there'll be more and more clarity that this person is behaving like this. I think in the last lecture I said, the Swamijis are very compassionate. Why? Because they know that this behavior is coming from this guna.
Right.
This, so that's why we have studied the three gunas, right? So we know that this is coming from there. It is not the person per se, but it is their vasanas. And vasanas is a push, which even the person to resist the vasana push is extremely difficult. So if we can keep that in mind, we might become more compassionate. I totally understand where you're coming from. And yes, it happened. But now that we are on this path, that is something that we need to develop.
Yeah.
So we can keep, we need to develop it, because and one thing, this word hate is a very strong word. That's what I was thinking today also. Like from hate, you start using purposely the word dislike.
Right.
Okay. And from dislike, you say, it's not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
This
Agreed. But is there something like, I've used the words with these people, but it is much better than what it was. But is it at the point where each of us is it better just to work on our own sattva, or is it better to try and be more neutral to them?
Work on your more sattva.
Okay, perfect.
Work on increasing sattva, because that will automatically follow.
Okay, thank you.
As I improve,
Yeah.
automatic, like, I talked about cataract. If I have cataracts,
Yeah.
I should work at removing them. Then already the world will become very clear to me.
Okay,
So
that
work on
explains it.
yourself, yes,
Yeah.
because we only have control over ourselves. We have no control over the rest of the world. So for us, because we are on this path, we are listening to all this, work on our own gunas.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, always. Any other questions? Om swasti prajabhyav paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalini desho yam shobharahita brahmana santu nirbhayaha om sarvesham swasti bhavatu sarvesham सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेव अवशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ